Good Saturday morning, DFW. What an amazing August morning. It's warm. It's going to get a little toasty out there, and we've got a great show. We're going to be talking about everything from giving back to being happy, and some financial advice along the way. My first guest is Brad Marckx. He's one of the founding partners of BKM Sowan Horan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to have you. Nice to have me.
That's kind of a switch. Here, we can switch chairs. So, Brad, tell me how you got into your line of work.
Well, I got in my line of work. I actually started with the IRS. So I was there for 4 years doing audits, knocking on people's doors and kind of walking down that revenue line of trying to make sure that people are paying the right amount of tax, right? And so went to Denver and got my master's and thought, public accounting sounds like a different chance. And so I moved out into the public, and that was 20 plus years ago. Wow.
And so with your experience being on that side, you can actually really represent your clients when they get into some kind of IRS issue, can't you?
I can. That's just a general practice. That's part of our global practice at BKM Sowan Horan. It's tax, it's audit, it's valuation, litigation support services, and we really try and partner with our clients to help them grow. So it works both ways.
Yeah, let's talk about the IRS. I mean, it's one of those things when even you say IRS, do people get nervous? Did you find that when you were with the IRS at a cocktail party, you could clear a room?
Actually, one of my college roommates knew that I worked for the IRS when I was getting my master's, and anytime we'd go into the bar, if there was a good-looking lady, he works for the IRS, and all of a sudden, the room did clear, and I'm designated driver, I'll go sit in the car. So it was pretty bad.
Okay, so what do people need to know about the IRS? If you have a business, whether it's small, medium, or large, what do people need to know?
You know, the people at the IRS or the IRS have people too, and they have a job to roll or a job to go through, which is to make sure that there's a voluntary compliance system and that people are reporting the right amount of tax. There is only about 1 million tax returns audited every year out of the 150 million that are actually filed. So that's a very low percentage, but the IRS is really trying to be innovative and try and send that envelope to you that go, oh my gosh, what do I do now? It says IRS on it and U.S. Department of Treasury, and people get scared. And, if they have a CPA or a advisor, they need to just call them up and, walk through it. And it's generally, hey, we saw some information. It didn't actually come through the same as we thought it would, meaning your W-2 said this from your employer, but you reported this, and maybe you mistyped a key or something like that. But it's generally not a significant issue.
But it seems like with computers and algorithms, I mean, the IRS probably can spot a red flag from a mile away, can't it?
Well, it's always that secret Coke formula, right? Everybody says, well, what is that red flag? And, nobody knows, right? It's locked in a vault. Only a certain number of people know that true algorithm of how to see it. But it generally comes from trends where you're trying to, if you're a certain level of income, you're going to pay so much in real estate taxes, you're going to pay so much in geographical region for charity. And there's some general rules that the IRS looks at. And that will pop out a flag if you're above or below those general rules. Doesn't mean it's wrong, just means you're different.
Brad Marckx is my guest. He's one of the founding partners of BKM Sowan Horan. Your company started just 7 years ago, and the growth has been explosive, hasn't it?
Yeah, there were 5 partners that we'd all work together for an extended period of time, and we felt that we wanted to do things a little differently. We wanted to create a firm that was a one-firm approach and service our clients the best we can. We've gone from the 5 that started on one day in June in 2010. We're all the way up to 45 people now and continuing to grow.
That's amazing. What do you attribute the success to?
A lot of it's about the culture. Not only is it a culture of giving back, we really try and partner with our clients so that we can grow through with them. So whether it's a startup or whether it's a $2 billion balance sheet dealing with complicated financial issues, we can run that gamut so we can work with them all the way as they grow.
Wow. You talked about giving back, and it was just about a week ago that you guys did a project. Our firm came out and videotaped it. Tell us more about that project.
So Fraser is a client, which is a project down in South Dallas, and they have continually to try and grow and we've partnered with them. So we used people volunteered from our organization to be able to go and sponsor that event and be a part and giving back to the community.
And that really makes a difference for your employees. I know I've been over to your firm many times. There are a lot of young people, and young people really want to work for a place that stands for something, don't they?
It is a point of being able to give them the opportunity to show how to give back. It is part of partnering with our clients, whether it's not only as Fraser, but the Nancy Lieberman Foundation and working with Dallas with basketball courts in certain areas of Dallas. Each of those communities and each of those events shows that you're part of the community and our clients are part of the community, and so we work with those together.
What's in every business there's a touchdown. There's that felt great. What's a touchdown for you?
Touchdown for me was probably getting through that first tax season, believe it or not. Tax season is very extensive in regarding time requirements. Requires me to be away from my family. I've got 4 kids, and so that kind of is what I give up to hopefully have a little more flexibility over the summer and in the fall. But getting through that first tax season, knowing that our clients were supporting with us, that continued to grow. So it was really a success knowing that we'd make the business work.
And one of the things that's always impressed me about you guys is just honor and integrity and doing things the right way each time. Why is that such an important core value?
You find that whenever you're talking with a client and the client's got a difficult decision to make, they want somebody to be honest and tell what you need to do. Sarbanes-Oxley, Dodd-Frank, all those rules and regulations really came out in 2007 and 2008. And a lot of clients, we've got a focus in the mortgage industry, and those clients got hit really hard, from the financial and the real estate decrease. When you go through that process and you're being hit by the government, you need somebody that's strong with you that will say, no, you need to do it this way, and here's why, and try and work with them and make sure that they understand the rules.
Do you think we're going to get any kind of tax reform out of Washington in the next couple of years?
It's funny. In 1913, the first tax return was filed. That tax return, ironically, if you look at it, is very similar to what it is today. I think there'll be reform. Will it be a drastic change and go to a flat tax system? No, I don't believe so.
There seems to be a lot of gridlock in Washington right now. It seems everybody has to use a firm like yours to do their taxes. If you're in small business, you're not doing your own taxes, are you?
Some people do, but there are generally options to make that happen, whether you do it online or use an internal person. But normally people do have, if you're in a small business or have partnership relationships, that you'll have somebody else doing that because those rules are getting more and more complicated.
And having a firm like yours with the experience that you have, I mean, there's a lot of people who can do it, but your experience with the IRS, I have to believe, pays dividends year after year.
It really helped me learn the other side of the table. As I said, they're people too. Understanding the story, understanding to work with them. The standoff approach has never been my approach to go, well, I'm going to kind of put them in a closet. I actually got put in a closet, literally, in a small CPA firm when I was in Denver. Went in to do an audit, and they literally, you could see that the broom used to be in the corner with the mop bucket. And, thinking that would be a good way to kind of get me out of there quickly. It had the adverse effect that I was like, I'm going to stay here and look at everything. And unfortunately, he didn't have everything correct in his return. But it was a process. So.
That's an interesting story. How do people usually treat the IRS guy?
I'm not sure that there's a normal way. I think everybody's got a procedure, tactic that they try and work through. And ours is just to really kind of lay out the facts, tell the story, and, again, we do a quality level of work, and we generally come out with a pretty good answer.
And so what's your rule of advice if a small business or medium-sized business gets a letter from the IRS, what's the first thing they need to do?
Call their accountant and just send them a fax, send them an email. Everybody today is just, I got this letter, what do I need to do? And I don't know what to do unless I see it. So just make a copy, or, if you're really concerned, just walk it down to their office and give it to them.
And I know some people who aren't sophisticated might say, well, I need a tax attorney because I'm getting a letter from the IRS. Does somebody need a tax attorney?
There are issues where tax attorneys need to come in, and we work actually closely with a tax firm here in Dallas. It's not necessary to have a tax attorney, but it is something that in certain circumstances, if there is a gray area, which there are a lot in the tax code, then that gray area need to be argued in court, in which you do need a tax attorney if you're going to go to court.
Wow. This has been a great segment. I really appreciate you coming on. Give us the website.
It is www.bkmsh.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
When we come back, Hakuna Matata. You remember that famous song? The story behind a local mission trip to Kenya and the wisdom they brought back home. That's next on The Jeff Crilley Show.
More of The Jeff Crilley Show coming up.